everyone, my name is Lorna and I work for a charity called Whale and Dolphin Conservation, and we work to protect whales and dolphins all around the world. Today we're going to look at how climate change is affecting whales and dolphins. We'll find out how whales can help us fight climate change and look at what we can do to help keep whales and dolphins safe. So throughout the talk there might be times when I ask you to pause the video and talk about something, but we'll start off by reminding ourselves what climate change is. So here is Earth and our Sun, and as we know, Earth is surrounded by an atmosphere which is a mixture of gases, so all the air around us. That includes oxygen that we breathe in, but also greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide. Now, we need some carbon dioxide in our atmosphere because it helps to trap heat from the sun and keep Earth warm enough for life to survive. But through human activities like burning fossil fuels such as oil and gas, we've released more and more carbon dioxide into our atmosphere. And that means that our atmosphere is trapping more of the heat from our sun, and it's making Earth get warmer and warmer. And we're going to look today at how this is affecting the whales and dolphins in our oceans. Okay, so this is climate change, this warming of our Earth. Now we're going to look first at the bowhead whale. And what I'm going to do is give you a few facts about this whale, and I'd like you to see if you can guess where in the world this whale lives. So here are your facts. The bowhead whale here is quite a large whale, but it grows slow and it swims slow, and they can live, we think, over 200 years. They also have a thick layer of blubber under their skin. Now, blubber is a fat that helps keep whales and dolphins warm in cold water. And bowhead whales can have a layer of blubber up to 70 centimetres thick. So if you had two normal rulers that are 30 centimetres each and you put them together side by side, making one long ruler, the blubber on a bowhead whale can be thicker than those two rulers together. Bowhead whales also have strong, thick skulls, and they use their heads to break through sea ice. So that's your facts. Hit the pause button and see if you can guess where in the world bowhead whales live. Okay, well done if you said the Arctic Ocean. Now we know from our facts that bowhead whales, their bodies are so well adapted to surviving in the cold sea, particularly with all of that blubber to help keep them warm. But we know that climate change is causing our oceans to warm and sea ice to melt. And we don't know how our bowhead whales would survive in a warmer ocean, being that they're so well adapted to living in cold sea. And once the Arctic has become warmer, there's no other cold water for them to move to or live in. Let's look next at the white-beaked dolphin. This is a species of dolphin that we can see off the UK, as there are some that live in the North Sea. And the North Sea is the perfect habitat, the perfect home for them, because they like cold water. Our North Sea isn't as cold as the Arctic, but it's certainly pretty chilly. And they quite like living in fairly shallow water. So water that's not really deep, which means it tends to be closer to the shore. But with climate change warming our oceans and the North Sea getting warmer, these dolphins are starting to move further north. So their home is getting smaller and smaller, and it's possible they might lose their home completely. The last one we'll look at is the blue whale. Now, blue whales are the biggest whales in the world. The largest recorded blue whale was 33 meters long, and it weighed about 180 tons. That's the same weight as about 18 African elephants. In fact, the tongue of a blue whale can weigh about the same as one elephant, and its heart can be about the same size as a small car. So these are really giant whales. Now we're going to look at what blue whales like to eat. So again, I'm going to give you a few facts about the blue whale's favourite food. I'd like you to see if you can guess what that is. So here are your facts. Now, blue whales, as well as being the biggest whales in the world, are the biggest animals in the world. And yet they eat some of the smallest creatures in the sea. Now, these small creatures are similar to shrimp in appearance, and they grow no bigger than my thumbnail. And blue whales in the Antarctic eat about 4 million of these creatures every day. Now I've got one more bonus fact for you. This is your bonus clue. The name of these creatures begins with a K, with a kikinka. So have a think, pause the video, see if you can guess what the blue whale's favourite food is. Okay, well done if anyone said krill. So these are tiny shrimp-like creatures. And in the Antarctic, the krill that live there, they find food and they spend their winter under the sea ice. Now remember, climate change is causing our oceans to warm and sea ice to melt. And it means that in part of the Antarctic, there isn't as much sea ice forming. And that means there's less krill there and less food for the blue whales that live there. So now we know a bit about how whales and dolphins are being affected by climate change. But did you know that whales can help us to fight climate change? Let's look at how. So, here is our whale, and they often dive down deep and feed down below the surface of the sea, sometimes quite deep under the surface. But they always come back to the surface to breathe, because they breathe air just like we do. They also come to the surface to poop. And this whale poo is really important. It has lots of nutrients in it that help plants in the sea to grow. And some of these plants are called phytoplankton, and they live near the surface of the ocean. Now, plants are very important to the fight against climate change because they take in these nutrients and they take in carbon dioxide, and that's what they use to grow and survive. They also give out oxygen as well. Remember, that's what we breathe in. And this is one of the ways whales help fight climate change, by acting as gardeners of the sea, providing lots of nutrients in their poo to the plants that live there, making sure there's lots of plants growing and taking in lots of carbon dioxide out of our atmosphere. Now this is pretty important. So we're going to watch a little video that recaps what we've just learnt. In it, you'll be introduced to two of my colleagues that live and work in North America, and a humpback whale named Salt that lives in the ocean there.
Hi, I'm Regina, and I've been studying whales and their role in the marine ecosystem for many years. Did you know that whales are allies in the fight against climate change? No? Then my colleague Sabrina will imagine what it's like to be inside the mind of a humpback whale named Salt.
Hi, I'm Salt, and I spend most of the year off the east coast of North America. I am a female humpback whale with a large family. I have 15 children, 17 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren, and I hope there will be more. My whole family are gardeners of the seas. But how do we do that? Well, we fertilize the seas with nutrients.
Iron and other nutrients from whale poop feed phytoplankton. These tiny marine plants absorb carbon dioxide from the air and release oxygen into the atmosphere. So much, in fact, that land creatures like us humans owe every other breath we take to the ocean.
But we do even more. Whales are also nutrient mixers. To find food, we often have to dive deep, but to breathe, we regularly come to the water's surface.
By spending time at different ocean depths, whales mix and transport nutrients across all water layers. This benefits both phytoplankton at the ocean surface and bottom-dwelling organisms in the deep sea.
At some point, even whales have to die. But even after we die, we play an important role in the marine ecosystem.
The body cells of whales, like those of all living creatures, consist largely of carbon. When a whale dies, the body usually sinks to the bottom of the sea, locking the carbon away for up to thousands of years. There it is decomposed over many years by hungry deep-sea creatures. The carbon stored in the whale's carcass is transferred to the cells of the deep-sea organisms, preventing it from being released back into the atmosphere.
Whales are perfect climate protectors. We are climate giants. Without me as the head of the family, there will be far fewer whales in the ocean, and the fewer whales there are, the more the climate is out of balance. So when you protect us, you also protect the climate. Every whale counts.
Come to our website to learn more about how we need to save the whales to save the world.
So now we know how whales can help us fight climate change. And by protecting whales, we can help fight climate change. And there are a few threats, dangerous things to whales and dolphins out in the oceans. We're going to look at 3 of these. So the first is marine litter. Now when litter gets into our oceans, whales and dolphins can get tangled in it, like in this picture. But they can also eat it thinking that it's food. And it can get stuck in their stomach and make them really ill. Another threat is when whales and dolphins accidentally get caught in nets. Now anything caught in a net that we don't want caught is called bycatch. And when this happens to whales and dolphins, they can get trapped under the water. It can stop them from being able to swim properly, which means they might not be able to feed, and they might not be able to get to the surface to breathe. We can also disturb whales and dolphins when we're on the water, sometimes by getting too close to them, sometimes by making too much noise. And it can stop dolphins from feeding, from talking to each other, and from resting, all of which can be really bad for them. So what I'd like you to do next is think a little more about these threats and try and think of 5 ways that we can help protect whales and dolphins from these. So pause that video, get your thinking caps on. Okay, I'm sure that you'll have come up with lots of excellent ideas. Let's talk about some of the ways that we can all help to protect whales. So, marine litter, what should we do with our rubbish? Making sure we put it in a bin. And if we're out and about and there's no bin or the bins are full, then taking it home and putting it in our bin at home. Hopefully you'll have heard of the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. And this can help make sure that we're not just tossing lots of litter away and it going to landfill. And if you're able to join a beach clean or a litter pick somewhere, that's excellent too. Picking up any litter that has blown out of a bin or not been put in a bin properly will make sure that it doesn't get into the ocean. At Whale and Dolphin Conservation, we like to encourage people to try and stop using single-use plastic. This is things like plastic bottles, plastic bags, plastic straws, because they're items all made to be used once and then get tossed away. And if we can use other things instead, that will help reduce the amount of litter that we're throwing away. I bet that a lot of you have your own water bottles that you reuse again and again. And that is an excellent thing to do because it means we're not using lots of plastic bottles that just get tossed away. To help try and protect whales and dolphins from bycatch, a good thing to do is look at the seafood that you like to eat and how it's been caught. Another UK charity called the Marine Conservation Society has a good fish guide which lets you look up different types of seafood, find out how it's caught, and if it's caught in a way that's safe for whales and dolphins. At WDC, we like to work a lot with scientists and fishermen to find different ways of catching our food and trying to stop whales and dolphins getting caught in our nets. When it comes to watching for whales and dolphins, the best thing we can do to make sure we don't disturb them is to watch for them from the shore. And the UK is a great place to watch for whales and dolphins, with lots of places around our coastline, excellent spots for standing out and looking out at sea. There are, however, wildlife watching boats that know how best not to disturb any whales or dolphins they come across. So if you're looking for a wildlife watching trip, make sure that it's with a boat that knows how best to minimise disturbance to dolphins. These are just a few of the threats that we can help protect whales and dolphins from, and a few of the actions that we can take towards these threats. But there are other ways that we can help too. Raising awareness is an excellent way of helping, and that means telling as many people as possible about the threats to whales and dolphins and what they can all do to help. And you could do this through things like making posters or writing stories. You can also help our charity continue its work protecting whales and dolphins around the world by fundraising through things like a bake sale or a sponsored bike ride, or adopting a whale, a dolphin or an orca with us. And by adopting these whales and dolphins, you're helping to keep them safe, and whales and dolphins all around the world. And remember, saving the whale will help save the world. Thank you all so much for listening to my talk. I hope you've really enjoyed it. I'm going to leave you with one last fun activity, which is our board game, all about climate change and the importance of whales and dolphins in the fight against climate change. Thank you again all so much for watching. Bye!